I just felt like the Lord was just leading me to go and look for
MeTV 24 Meridian proudly presents your favorite way to start the day. Welcome to Mornings with Scotty Ray and Candace.
And good morning from Scotty Ray and Candace as we work again. I think all the equipment is back working again. And I just want to grab the attention of everybody that's watching. I want you to really look at this. I think she done cut her hair. And you can't do that.
Yes, I can.
No.
Well, you complained about me going dark.
I didn't know who you were for like 2 months.
Okay, well, I went back blonde. Can't have everything, Scotty Ray.
What you trying to do? What was that old, can't always get what you want?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been scared to cut hair, especially with.
Well, it's got to come a little bit more up in the back because
so
I can't stand it
you're going
dragging,
shorter?
flipping out like that.
I'm trying
Just
to.
in the back, just a little bit.
I'm trying to save your marriage here.
Look, I like it. I think I don't know, possibly maybe took a year or two off
As
of it.
long as you have been cutting hair, you hadn't caught on. It's not about what you like. You're fixing your hair for somebody else.
Look, I spent
I know
many
these
years
things.
pleasing everybody else, and it's time for Candace
No,
to
that
like
that
what she
only happens when you reach about, I think, what is the age? About 65, 70, to where you can say what you want then? It really
Yeah.
don't matter. Because my grandma told me that, and I totally understand that
Well,
now.
I think my grandma took full advantage of saying what she wanted to in later years, because I was very embarrassed a couple of times.
Because
when I
grandparents
was with
do
her.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you bring home a girlfriend and go, boy, she's too skinny. You need to go eat something. I can remember grandma saying that.
Well, nothing takes the cake. Like when I was at the doctor with her, and she asked a lady about her long, long fingernails. How does she wipe with them like that? And I thought I would crawl under the table.
Well, she was probably curious about that. I
Oh,
would
she
be, too.
was. She was curious.
Oh my gosh, Connie John likes your hair.
Thank
That
you.
has just scared me.
Thank you. I like it. I think it's sassy.
Sassy? We have
Yeah,
now.
but you know what? It really needed cutting, because I think it was down to about right here, and we cut it because
Right.
it was fried on the ends. It really
Fried.
it was unhealthy.
At least you got an end to fry. I don't have that no more.
I should have brought it. We could have
We could have glued it.
glued it on top. Yeah.
So those are a few things happening. This morning, y'all hang close. We're going to be talking to Odie Barret. We have had so many good people in Lauderdale County. And we're going to talk to Odie about all those people that worked tirelessly to make what happened yesterday come about. Oh, it was so wonderful.
Yes, it was.
Also,
Great
Jessica
outcome.
Calvert, I interviewed her sort of last night, and we had the major issues, and we've got a clip from that we're going to play to let you hear how she says no, she didn't stumble upon it. God led her, and I want to be very clear about that, and let her tell her story. That's coming up this morning.
Yes, that's going to be great.
Do y'all remember? I didn't mean to go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yesterday we were all trying to call and text and let you know what was going on our end, because when we're here, you don't know what's going on
Right.
on the other side. Like everybody, we just depend on comments.
Yeah, and you can't do it
Or
without
phone
it.
calls that Scotty don't answer.
Front row. Well, I think I had a major issue going on.
I know. Speaking with
Do you remember that hot air balloon thing that happened a few months back of the guy that the professional?
Yes.
Yeah. Turns out now that happened in June, and it turns out he crashed in New Mexico is where that was. Cocaine and marijuana up in his bloodstream there that might have caused him to not realize it was a power line in front of him. Thought y'all might want to know
Scary.
the ending of that story.
Yeah, and if somebody else is manning your hot air balloon that you're riding in, you might want to.
Yeah,
know.
that went through my head. Honest to goodness, you're out and you want to take a ride in a hot air balloon. You don't do that every day. So how do you know you're getting in there with somebody that is not got all this stuff up in their bloodstream?
Yeah, because this sister right here is scared of heights.
Me too. And a hot air
Put
balloon,
me up in a hot air balloon. You better be walking a straight.
that's not like an airplane to
Yeah.
where you're kind of you
yeah.
fall out that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
yeah.
the other one that thought he was talented and went to get out and got hung up in the bottom of the stuff, and it took him up and he fell.
Oh yeah.
Killed him.
Yeah.
I don't know how they ever got his hot air balloon back down after that.
Yeah, you go up in one of those, your chances of survival drop. Not real good.
I also wanted to mention this from Clark County Hot Topics. I brought this up a little bit ago this morning. They're going to be doing some power tomorrow night at midnight. They brought this up. Mississippi Power, if you live in Clark County at midnight, is going to be killing the power working on something. So if you've got, as I mentioned, the old push-button alarm clock and you hadn't moved on to 2021, you use your cell phone for your alarm Saturday morning because it's most likely not going to work.
I wonder.
All
I
your
use my
clocks.
cell phone all the time for my alarm clock.
And I brought that up. I no longer have this. I've done away with the. It takes you don't even hear that anymore. It takes a
Yeah.
licking and keeps on ticking. Mm-hmm. What happened to Timex? Is it over?
I don't know, but I don't know. I like to wear a watch. I just don't have a gold one.
Okay.
So when I wear gold, I don't have a watch to wear.
Linda
I could
Jane
wear my
says she
silver one, but
loves my hair. Look at her comment there. She says it always looks so great.
It does. Like, look right here.
Oh, let's turn our thoughts over here to Odie. Odie, how are you doing? I know you're joining us this morning. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay, feeling good. So
He's revived.
got a little bit of rest and need some extra coffee, but we're gonna make it.
I'm telling you, your last 24 hours has been busy, and we're going to ask you about all of that coming up this morning. And so glad to have you in your position that you do. You're really great at communicating. Did everybody get fed yesterday? We were talking about that.
Man, did we get it? We were talking about what we were going to do for breakfast and how we were going to get breakfast out there to us.
Right.
And so Carl with WOKK showed up, and she called and she said, "I'm up here at the gate. Can I come down? I've got something for you." So she showed up from Piggly Wiggly with a big thing of biscuits and sausage and coffee, and it was just something nice. It was really good to see somebody coming together. And then my buddy Steve Murray with McDonald's, he called and said, "What about breakfast?" And I said, "Steve," I said, "I've got breakfast." I said, "I hadn't thought about lunch yet." And he said, "I'll take care of that." And so then Joey Rogers, he called from Mr. Rogers Hamburgers. "What do you need?" Then we had churches show up. We had people coming together. When you've got that many law enforcement and search and rescue and fire department together, there's one thing that really brings them together, and that's donuts. And Shipley's Donuts, it had to have been 55 or 60 dozen boxes of donuts. So we got extra law enforcement help out there.
That is fantastic.
So we were good to go. Food, the whole community stepped up. We had food for days. Everybody was well nourished. We had snacks, and you've got certain snacks that we take for energy boost while you're out in the woods. So,
right.
Everybody was well took care of. That was for sure.
That is fantastic. I'm glad that you have to have that energy to keep going on that, because you don't have time to run to town. You cannot organize that.
Right.
No. It's just hurry up, make your phone calls, and one guy says, "I'm the sharpest tool in the shed." I'm not, but I know all the sharp ones, and I can call them.
Oh, that is too funny.
I saw Kara's thing on Facebook last night that she was talking about the community coming together, and I'm gonna tell you, this world we're living in right now, how things are going, it'll bring your spirits down. But when you see a community come together like they did yesterday, and I'm talking about not just from our local community out here, there were people coming from Newton and like Decatur, all around.
Yeah.
People calling and commenting saying, "I'm out of town, but I'm coming," And just for people to pull together like that, it reminds you there is still so much good in this world. And I'm so glad that people did.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We had agencies from all over the state that were coming together. We had the helicopter that we were supposed to get out of Alabama. The one from Mississippi couldn't fly. All of their pilots had hit their time limit for being in the air without rest. So they were grounded while they got some rest. So we made a phone call and was able to get Alabama Highway Patrol said, "Yes, we'll be glad to help." And we've got ones coming out of Montgomery, and talked to the pilot, and he said, I'm headed to the airport now. So it was good. We're all right. So after a little while, we're sitting there going, where's the helicopter? It should have already been here.
Yeah.
And so we called and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And they said, "Weather has got us grounded. So as soon as it moves out of the way and gets clear, we'll be coming that way." And so it pressed on. So we were unable to get them a clear enough atmosphere to fly. But we had 4 drones from MEMA that we kept sending up in the air that all had the FLIR technology. So we were still able to use aerial support with the drones. And then
now,
early.
do you? Let me just add. Do you fly drones?
No.
I have never operated one other than when me and Dylan Ray crashed in the backyard. So I was just curious if you were better than me.
No, I'm not. I want one, and I'm going through the class to do it. But yeah, I'm not real good. Of course, everybody says I did it wrong. I went and bought me a cheap one for like $20 and said I'll practice on this. And everybody says don't do that. The flight is totally different. You've got to fly that one with every aspect, but these new ones, they basically fly themselves.
Yeah, I bought my son an inexpensive one years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I say it was inexpensive. It was about $60 or $70. That was not cheap, but to me it wasn't. But yeah, first flight up, got stuck in the power line.
And this is Angie, for me and Dylan, she got it I think it was about 3 years ago. She gave it to me and Dylan as a gift. And I think she spent like $300 on it. And after 15 minutes, and I didn't know this, when the battery goes dead, it's coming down.
Yeah.
And that was it. I didn't know that you're supposed to watch that battery. And it was, I'm talking about splat in between here and the pasture next door.
Yeah. Thank goodness they have stuff like that, though, now that can help people.
Now, what I did learn, Odie, this was neat. Dylan is educated in all this stuff to where he doesn't even use controls anymore. He can take a computer, give it coordinates. And my neighbor's house, he flew it over there and hovered at their window outside their bedroom just to mess with them because I told him I was going to do it. And it just sits there and hovers, and it flies back, sits down where you want. There's just the technology that is out there now is wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
We use the computer. They'll pull up maps, and then what area we want to search, they'll isolate that and program it and send that drone up, and it sits there and just goes back and forth, looking at every little square inch of that grid. But that's what $30,000 drone will do for you.
You'll make me have the big one over here like Fred.
That's what I haven't. I've took a lot of stuff to the supervisors and said, "Hey, I want this," but I haven't approached them yet and asked for a $30,000 RC toy yet. So.
But that is one of those things that I think Lauderdale County is moving toward that we really need, and I think we saw that yesterday.
They started taking pictures, like when my daughter was in her senior year of high school, which was in 16, I think. They were taking their team pictures, cheerleading pictures and all that at the dam out there with a drone. I mean, it was really neat how they did that. But
it is.
And they've got a camera system that you can have this drone at 400 feet, and it will come down and take a picture of you, and you can tell who you are.
Wow.
They are sophisticated pieces of equipment.
Things are changing. We got more coming up with Odie. We're going to find out behind the scenes what went on with this search and rescue. And also, we're still going to talk to Jessica. That's all coming up in a moment. Let's turn our thoughts to our friends down at the Farm Supply. Ron has been there so long, he's like part of the co-op now. Since 1932, they've been there. Ron hadn't been there quite that long, but it's been quite a while. He takes care of you there. And some great employees. As we get ready for, deer season, and I'm going to put a C in rack tomorrow, as I just noticed I misspelled that.
That might be a new way to spell it, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm adding new words here.
Yeah.
Whoops. But if you're looking for some great seed, this weekend's going to be one of those great weekends to go ahead and plant, get everything ready for deer season. They've got so much to choose from at the Lauderdale County Farm Supply. The rice brand, if you want to go ahead and get your deer hooked, they love it. The Mobucks, as you get into the triple grip, this has got corn, soybeans, peanuts, all of that. Included with deer cameras, you got to get ready to know what you got out there. The deer cocaine. Or deer cane, I think is the way they call it.
You could get the cameras and watch the raccoons eat all your corn.
Yes, you can. They enjoy it. I talked to somebody last night about that.
Yeah.
If you're needing a tent, they've got those as well. Anything, a pop-up line, to boots, a top brands area.
Oh, yeah.
They're great. Of course, mud boots also. See them. They've got this plus flashlights and anything when it comes to your pets, they take care of them. And fall season right around the corner there at the gift shop. As we go through this, insecticides, anything you may need from regular corn to rye, all of this stuff is there. Guns, ammo, and a whole lot more. You find it all at the Lauderdale County Farm Supply.
I was driving on State Street. It happened so fast. I didn't even see that person behind me. The moment I knew I had to go and get checked out because of my head, that was the moment where I said, well, I need to call Richard Swartz. Once I made that one call, they began working for me. Richard Swartz is the person that the company you need to call, because they are going to go through everything to make sure you get what you deserve.
One call, that's all.
All right. And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace. We welcome our special guest, who is Director of the Lauderdale County Emergency Management, Odie Barret. And Odie, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
Now, we have had, and y'all tell me, have we ever had this large of a scale of a search in Lauderdale County?
Close to it.
Close to it.
Didn't last quite as long, but we had one that, the amount of people that come together. So it's been 10 years or so ago.
Right.
So it's few and far between.
Now, walk us through what went on with this as when you got the call about Henton missing. Tell us what began and when you realized, okay, it's getting dark and we're not going to be able to find him. What went on?
So we first got the call. We made our way to the residence. Once we got there, we knew that's when we found out that we were about an hour behind the 8 ball. So the boy had went missing about 5:30. We were called about 6:30. So when we showed up, there were so many people there looking and trying to get in the woods and see if they can't locate him. But I knew then that we were at a big incident and that we needed to get a command center started and let's go ahead and start calling in some people. So we immediately made a call to my area coordinator with MEMA. Told him, I said, we'll do paperwork later. I'll get on the phone and get requests done later. I said, but I need drones now. And so he made a phone call and was able to get there within an hour, getting one drone ready. And we had that there ready to go. And then we were calling in other agencies through MEMA. So Doug Stevens and Daniel Mabry with Meridian Public Safety, they do a lot of the overland search and rescue. So I made a call and requested them.
Right.
So they came out. Meridian Fire Department, Mayor Jimmy Smith is basically, Odie, you need anything, you let me know. We've got it for you. So I talked to Doug Stevens. Boom, he was there. I talked to Jason Collier and Vince Vincent with Meridian Fire. They were there. Plus, we had all of the volunteers coming in from the fire departments. We were able to get boots on the ground in the woods within about an hour and a half. That additional to the people who were already in the woods. We were able to make contact with dog teams. We had them coming in within 2 hours. We had one dog team within about 3.5 hours. We had 2 additional dog teams on site. So it was just making the phone calls, getting everybody together, getting everybody to the command post where we could set up and knowing where we had people deployed and able to have our map system up. I cannot remember the guy's name to save my life. Steve Sullivan, that's also with Sukalina, had him with him and he deployed his map technology and we were able to really keep an eye on where we were at, what areas we were searching and what areas we needed to focus on. So I'd say about 9 o'clock that night, we were getting additional teams in and really pushing them out into the woods, doing methodical search, looking for footprints, looking for dog prints, trying to find out where this child may have walked to. We had video surveillance from the house that we could tell where the boy went and what direction he walked. And then that gave us our starting position. But then we had to go, did he go right? Did he go left?
Yeah.
You know, little things that you pay attention to is you ask the parents, is he right-handed or left-handed? You know, well, who cares at this time? Well, if he's right-handed, most likely he's going to kind of turn to the right. If he's left-handed, then he's going to kind of turn to the left. So that gives us an idea of where we need to look. Do we need to look more to the right or do we need to look more to the left? What are his favorite places to go to? If he's with mom and daddy in the woods, where's a place that he likes to go? So it's all of these different actions that have taken place in past searches that goes into a database that we can utilize to learn what kids do. A 5-year-old boy, what is he most likely going to do looking at our past searches across the country?
You know, and I asked you about that when you and I first talked of patterns of children. Do they go sit down? Do they cry? Do they keep walking? And I guess that's almost a thing to where each child is different. And you tell me, Odie, if I'm wrong on that.
Each child is different. And, you know, he's got dogs with him. Well, that's comfortable to know that he's got dogs with him. Little boys are going to go to water. love water. So we're going to start looking at ponds. And when we pulled up an overview, the amount of ponds in that area, it kind of makes your heart stop and think a little bit. So we immediately sent teams out to the ponds to start looking around it. No dogs around the pond. So we started feeling a little bit more comfortable that he's not in the pond, or the dogs would be around the pond barking. So now where's the next place to look? Where does he like to go? Well, when we go walk, he always wants to go over to this area. This is one of his favorite places. So we're saturating that area and looking at it. We had so many people that were in the woods so quick that the scent from this little boy was covered up with everybody else. So the dogs could never really pinpoint real good.
If this were to happen to you, why you say that, if this were to happen to somebody else, would it be best not to call your neighbors to come search? Would it be better to call y'all first before everybody hits the woods for future reference, or
call us immediately? Go look at his favorite place. Go walk around the roads, drive around the roads, but call us immediately. We would much rather drop what we were doing and get everybody together and start calling in 100 state agencies to come together and show up on this scene and be told we found him, we're not needed. I'd rather make those phone calls and say, hey guys, disregard. We're good, found the boy. But as soon as it happens, call us and let us know. We want to be there as quick as we can. So if we've got dogs coming, the dogs have a fresh scented trail. We don't want to have so many people covering tracks up inside the woods. And I know that that's hard to say. Well, I want as many people looking for my child as can. And I understand that. But sometimes calling us very first, let us get on scene, let us start looking at everything. There's more evidence that we can look at and come up with a good outcome at hopefully a faster time rate.
I think, the other night my husband sat down with our little boy, and I mean, he's 7, so he sat down immediately with him and said, look, if this happens to you, you get lost at any time, this is what you need to do. And of course he told him, he said, you find a tree and you sit down and you stay there, don't be moving because you get more lost, Yeah. And so he was just trying to tell him, sit down and is that the right thing to do, you think? Or
It is. Because we'd much rather, and the key is when you see us or hear us calling your name, yell help, or here I am, or something. And I think that was something that we were battling. I think he saw us, and I think he knew we were looking for him, but he didn't want to be found. There was a lot of people, and it probably scared him to death, and he thought, I'm fixing to get in trouble. So I'm going to hide. So we were fighting dark woods. We were fighting heavy terrain, and we were fighting a boy who didn't want to be in trouble, and he did not want to be found.
And that area was a bunch of hills. If you drive through any of that area there behind Center Hill, it's just up and down.
Yeah. And there's a ravine and one reason we don't like just everybody going off into the woods at night is there's one area through there that's a ravine that had a deep drop off.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to see that walking.
And it's covered with kudzu.
And it's covered with kudzu.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. Yeah. When I was riding around yesterday after I left the show, I came, that's when I found out y'all had found him. But I was just slowly riding around, and I thought, oh my goodness, everything's covered in kudzu. Like even if somebody fell off, you couldn't see them. Right. So that's a scary, scary thing. I'm glad.
So you're on this though, that if you're watching this and you have somebody come up missing, call y'all immediately. But I guess it's kind of like when you're tracking a deer, the more people you get in the field, they'll step on tracks, and then you can't follow the tracks, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for is we want to find those tracks that he went through and continue to follow his path. We want to know the stride between his shoe prints. Was he running? Was he walking? Was he walking at a regular pace, or was he walking at a very slow pace? Because that gives us a time frame of how far he's been walking and what distance he could have already covered.
Yeah. Now, let me ask this. Was there any truth, because there were so many things coming in and out that were being put on social media. Did y'all see a lot of footprints, or were they very hard to find? Because there was even one time that, where I think everybody panicked when they read it. It wasn't from y'all, but somebody had posted that there was some footprints and then an adult footprint beside it. And then you go, oh my gosh, this could be bad.
Well, there were footprints of a child and there were footprints of an adult, but there were no dog prints around that particular one. We do know that him and his dad walk in this area and go out in the woods, so that wasn't uncommon. Right. We do have to think about the worst case scenario and what if somebody picked up this child.
You're right.
Most of the time if they're going to kidnap this child, they're going to kidnap the child, not the two dogs. So the two dogs never came home. So they were still with that child. And if you were to kidnap somebody, you'd have to pick up that child and both of those dogs.
And that would be a challenge.
That would be a challenge, especially the way that these two dogs love this little boy. They were full-grown lab or golden retrievers. They're gentle dogs anyway, but you go to messing with a child with that dog's around, and they were going to protect that child. So we didn't think that the child was abducted at any time. So we just continued to push forth, looking, trying to find more prints. And there were so many people in the woods, we didn't know if that was a child print by itself and then one of the searchers stepped beside it or not. So it was hard to narrow down with all the people that we had in the woods.
All right, hang on. We're going to be back and talk with you a little bit more about this, because I want to talk more about the dogs here in just a second, because I've heard a lot of interesting stories, and I know that you know more about it than anybody else. So we're coming back to Odie, going to talk to him about that. Let's talk about the Godwin cleaning services. And you go, well, what do I need them for? Well, if you've got a home, a business, anything, this is what you need these folks for. They have a Central Alabama office or the Mississippi office right here in Meridian, to where they can come clean your awnings. Now, awnings are pretty common in our area, and that keeps that rain off your head. But they do tend to look
a lot of people
nasty.
would just throw them away when they look like that. I didn't know you could clean them like you could.
Saves you money.
Right.
That's exactly what these folks do. And this is just a house here that's got the vinyl siding to the brick that is clean. They can do this in a couple hours in most cases and get your home just zapped back to it. Here's a steel building that was cleaned. Looks absolutely brand new after they got done with this. Roofs, we've gone over this a couple times.
I know. Who would have known the roof was brown? I mean, it looks like it was just a black roof.
Here's another angle of another roof. If yours is starting to look like this, put it back to the way it used to look. It's shocking just the differences there. You can call them at 253-8262. That's the Mississippi number there. Brick. You've also got the rock. Whatever you're doing, they handle it for you. Godwin Cleaning Services. They can even do cars, a fleet of cars. They wash all those. See them at Godwin Cleaning Services. They'll take care of you with anything that you need with cleaning.
I was returning from a visit with my family when my car was completely destroyed by a truck that ran a red light. I was unable to work and I needed help.
I'm Mississippi Attorney Richard Schwartz. I'm proud to represent the people of the great state I call home.
And welcome back. I have to pay attention, don't I? Odie is with us. And of course, this is Odie Barret, and we welcome him so much for coming in to tell us about everything that has gone on in the last 48 hours in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, as we had a youngster miss it. I brought up the two dogs that we just said. It's always great for a child to have a dog. Would you say that this was a big part of him being saved there, these dogs staying with him, Odie?
Oh, definitely, because when he found his spot that he wanted to go to sleep, he was getting tired. He laid down, and these dogs kept him warm. For us, it wasn't too bad. It was night. The temperature was awesome, but for a little boy stuck out in the woods, it was cold.
In shorts.
In shorts.
Yeah.
So he was cold, and these dogs able to cuddle up with him and keep him warm and keep him safe throughout the night. The dogs were a blessing for us and for this little boy.
Now, y'all found, and again, we go back to there was this coming out, that was coming out. Were the dogs found at the same time, or did they come up one at a time? The
dogs were found a little earlier. So about 2 2 hours or so prior to finding him, we found one dog. So the dog started walking up to some of the search teams. And so now that focused us on another area. So we brought another team in and was looking at one particular area and doubled that effort looking for another dog, looking for Henton, trying to find out why this dog left, why the dogs aren't together. We were thinking maybe, okay, one dog said, I'm going to go get some help. The other dog, well, I'm going to stay here.
Right.
So we said, well, maybe we're getting closer. Excuse me. So we had the other dog about an hour before come up. So now we've got both dogs. We still don't have Henton. So we tried to let the dogs, lead us, take us where do you want us to go? We were trying to get them to play Lassie, I guess,
Right.
And they were taking us into some areas and we were following them and searching each particular area. And then that's when we got the phone call that he had been found walking across the yard, which happened to have been a trail that he's gone up and down before. So we really believed that this child knew exactly where he was. He knew where he was during the night, where he slept. And we really feel that he knew his way back home, and that's where he was headed when we found him, he was headed home.
That's odd to me that, he would be okay. I mean, be okay. I don't know, because you would think he got lost, and that's why he was in the woods. But
I think, as you pointed out, he didn't want to get in trouble. He stayed out too late. He didn't want to get in trouble, so he was taking his time there.
Well, I'm so glad that...
Because that's happened before. He got scared when people were looking for him, and he hid.
Right.
And kids, you just don't know what will go through their minds.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you say that, let's cut to the clip. Last night, we had a chance to talk with Jessica Calvert. She's the lady that stumbled up on him. And we're going to cut to that and let you hear her story of how she says God led her to be at the right place. And God does do that. I want everybody to know that. Probably, and I worded it with her when we started that interview, it was kind of probably like the opening of It's a Wonderful Life. When God's sitting up there and all these prayers start coming in and he says, Joseph, what's going on down there? What are all these prayers for? I kind of feel like it may have been that way. So let's cut to Jessica now and hear what she had to say about what went on last night.
I just felt like the Lord was just leading me to go and look for him again, to go and join the search, along with many others that were already out there and that had been out there. Some people, I think, were out there all night. So I left, and I left my house. I really didn't know where I was going. First off, I have no sense of direction, like zero. I had to put it in GPS to get here. So I really didn't know where I was going. I put in the address to his house. And just kind of headed that general direction. Meanwhile, I was just in prayer. I was just, praying and asking the Lord to show me, tell me, lead me where I needed to go and where I needed to be at, and just praying that he would be, guided towards somebody,
right,
pretty quickly. So I was just driving down the road. At one point, I felt like the Lord just told me I needed to turn around. So I turned around. I was going another direction on that Grissom Road. And the Lord spoke to me and said, whenever I get to the mailbox that has the number 2 on it, that I need to pull over.
So that was spoken to you.
Yes. That was spoken to me. Again, I was just in prayer. I was just trying to listen to what the Lord was telling me, because I didn't really know where I was going. I have no sense of direction. I was just trying to listen to the Lord and what he was telling me, where he was telling me to go. And, so again, I have nothing really to do with this. It was really just all Jesus, really. But he told me after I got to the mailbox that had a 2 on it to pull over. And so I was going down the road. I passed several mailboxes and finally got to one that had a 2 on it. And whenever I looked, I couldn't pull over right there, but in front there was like a little road that turned to the right, and there was a little area where I could park right there. So I went in there and I parked right there, and I just put the car in park, and I just sat there, and I was like, okay, like,
what I do?
Yeah, what now? I looked to my left and my right, and there's just trees and grown up, and in front of me is this huge open pasture, nothing going on there, and I just sat there. And again, I was just praying and like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Do I need to get out, walk, go in the woods, like go in the pasture? What do you want me to do? A cop even came and kind of circled around in there, and I thought he was going to tell me to get out of the road because I was just parked there. But he didn't. He was real nice and said, hey. Anyway, it wasn't probably but a couple of minutes. I was just right in front of my vehicle, like in the pasture, far in the pasture. I saw a little white-topped, blonde-headed little kid just walking in the pasture.
Now, were the dogs with him at that point? Or
there was no dogs. It was just him.
So, and you feel without a doubt that God led you to turn around, told you this number 2, and told you to go sit there.
Without a doubt.
That is strong.
I mean, like I said, I don't have any sense of direction. I didn't even know why I really didn't think like I was going to be of any help being out there on the road. I thought I'd be more in the way, really. I didn't, but like I said, I believe in prayer. I know prayer works. There were several people too. It wasn't me. I know everybody, several people, several mothers, fathers were up all night praying for this little boy, and all that, came into play today whenever, the Lord led me straight to him.
There were so many people I don't think that ever went to bed that stayed there the entire time of the folks, the emergency people that stayed there, the people that were around the family. I know I spoke to Jonathan, the father, and I know he never went to bed.
Oh, no.
And it's such a, did you cry? How did you feel at that time?
I was like, is this somebody else's kid? Am I just seeing things? I got out of my car. I didn't have my phone or anything. I got out so fast. There was a barbed wire fence blocking, to the pasture. And I was at the fence, and I just started hollering to him, and he did respond. He's waving. He couldn't get to me because of all the bush and stuff that was grown up in between, me and him. Anyway, there was a car coming around the corner, and it happened to be Lindsay Tew and Billy Clearman.
Right.
And that was just another God thing. And she was able to call her husband to let him know that the child is in this pasture. I hopped over that fence, and I went through the pasture there to it's Henton. Make sure I'm saying that right.
You are.
Anyway, so I went to him. Whenever I got to him, I really feel like I probably did the same thing I would have done if I'd have seen my own in that pasture. I, just picked him up and hugged him, and he had scratches all over him, but overall, it's just a miracle. It's really a miracle that he was untouched. He had no shoes on, so he had scratches and blisters on his feet or whatever. But overall, it was just, it's just a total blessing.
Did y'all take him back to his parents, or did they come to y'all?
Lindsay told Clint, and they let everybody know, and they all met us at the site. So we got him, and we walked around, and then they met us all there. The ambulance, all the first responders, like I said, they were right there on the scene, and they were assessing him and giving him something to drink and a Nutri-Grain bar. He was happy to get that, and he seemed to be fine, wore out but fine.
And what a great story Jessica had there of how God led her to that number 2 to stop there, and then he just kind of appeared. And God does put you in places that he wants you to be, and a lot of times you don't understand why.
Right.
And that was a purpose there. So how did you feel, Odie, when you got the call on the radio that he'd been found? Was it a sigh of relief just all of a sudden that came over you that goes, oh my gosh, it's a great ending?
It was. It's, we get the call, and it's, hey, we've got him. Okay, do you have him? Well, yeah, we found him. Do you have him in your sight, in your hands? Do you have him? I will in just a second. Okay, well, it's not over until somebody I'm talking to actually has their eyes and hands on him. And then they called, and he said, yes, he is right here. Robbie Richardson, who's the EMA director over in Newton, he worked at Metro for a while. So he was right there with the child and had his hands on him and was taking care of him. So I knew then it was, hey, we're good. Everything's great. We got Metro to meet us over there, and they got him loaded up and took to the hospital just to make sure everything was okay. We just the outcome was great. The relief was there, and it was really a great ending.
And you can't beat that. Now, we're going to have the dad on this afternoon at 6. He's going to come in because he wants to thank all the people that helped with this. It has to be a relief. So he's going to come in. So join us around 6 o'clock this afternoon. We'll interview him, and he'll talk about his side of what he saw coming. Okay. How many counties were a part of this, Odie? Who all just jumped right in? And how many did we have around?
I have to look at my list, getting everything together. But once we made the call to the state, and they turned around and was able to get the Mississippi Task Force Urban Search and Rescue team together, we had Philadelphia City, Neshoba, Kemper. We had Rankin, Scott County, Forest County, Newton County, Wayne County.
That list just keeps growing.
Madison County. It was tremendous. We had people from Tupelo to the coast and from East Mississippi to West Mississippi come down.
You touched on something that I want to ask you about, and this may be helpful to somebody else. You made the comment that the camera system, that you were able to see that somewhere around 5:30, y'all saw in what direction. For the people that don't have cameras in their home or put up, what advice can you pass along about this, about cameras, and just how this really is a good thing?
The camera, the last visual contact, which was on camera, was at 5:33, and that showed him walking off. So the cameras are a very intricate part of putting together a plan. We knew what direction he was going. We knew where his last route was. So that gave us a starting point. And having, just a Ring doorbell all the way to a full-blown video surveillance around your house, it's awesome to have that peace of mind, not just for search and rescue or seeing what goes on at your house, but to help if something goes on at a neighbor's house.
Yeah, you can catch a car passing by.
Yeah, my mother, they have, had installed cameras, and they were on every corner of that house. I mean, you can see all the way to the road.
Yeah.
And it records, too.
So you can back up and look at it. Now, what would you guess, and I'm not asking for specific, but if you're sitting there watching, I don't have one, what kind of money are you looking at for a simple system that would help? Do you roughly know from the hip what something would cost?
You can get a Ring doorbell for, $150 on sale at Amazon. I say, Here I am sounding like I'm advertising for them. But, that one little camera would be a tremendous help in different aspects. Then you can go and purchase an 8-camera system for probably $150, $200. May not be the best quality, may not be the best cameras in the world, but you can go up to $10,000-$15,000 for some cameras. So the amount of money you want to spend to what you can spend for what you're wanting to do, you can get done relatively inexpensive.
And what you're saying is something is better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. Even if we couldn't tell exactly 100% that, yes, we know that was Henton, but if we saw a boy with 2 dogs walking by your house, we could justify that is going to be Henton, and we're going to follow that particular evidence. We want clear, crisp pictures, but it doesn't always mean that that's what we've got to have before we can get our work done.
Now, what other advice as you're watching this? And of course, we've got another missing person case in the county next to us that has not been solved. That God have mercy. We don't know how this is going to end up. Of the elderly person that has disappeared.
I saw where somebody brought that up again last night.
And it's hard to. Is this 3 weeks now that she's been missing?
We're going around 3.5 weeks or so.
Is it? It was my understanding that they found a scent to a certain point and then it just stopped.
I've heard that several times.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they followed the scent down 495 to the split, and then they kind of lost the scent. Those 2 dogs that were working her case were two of the dogs that were here with us working this one. So the dogs work great and they're trained well, but with the amount of people that just saturated the woods, they couldn't get a good scent, and the humidity wasn't helping either. So that's what kind of held everything back on the dogs being a heavy.
And that goes back
assurance.
to what we talked about of the help is great, but where the agencies need to jump in when it's this kind of seriousness.
When it's first going, let's go ahead and start setting up perimeters and getting people in key areas to start looking for evidence. And then that was an hour and a half it took to get a dog to us. Well, if we'd have been notified at the very start, then we could have had a dog there within 30 minutes of us getting going. But I'm not saying that's the way it should have been done.
Right.
I'm not taking a hit on anybody for doing anything the way it was done. You just
point
best
out
case practices. The best thing is we could have done this. I've got armchair quarterbacks everywhere.
Yes.
I've got my haters, and I can sit back and be my own armchair quarterback and say, this is what should have been done, and this is what we should have done this time. And I'm doing that, and we're having meetings coming up where we do a hot wash, and that hot wash is every key player come in and say, this is what we did, this is what we could have done, this is what you did, this is what you should have done. So we do a lot of pointing fingers.
It does help you. Because me and Candace were talking earlier about, everything that you say on here every day, if you go back and you listen to yourself, you go, ooh, why did I say it that way?
Right.
And it makes it just helps you the next time that you come up on that.
Right. So we have to have that. I have to look deep down at myself and say, Odie, you screwed the pooch on that.
Yeah.
And I take it 100%. Yeah, I did. That's what I did at that particular time. Making notes that we'll change it another time. But we've got to figure out what went right this time, what went wrong, and what we could have done to change it, and add that to our book of notes if we have to do this again.
Has there been a national alert
Yes.
for her also?
On
a national level, other than just our community?
You got your Amber Alert.
Okay.
And we had that in process to get done. That has to be done through law enforcement. We were working on getting that set up, but we didn't want to just push that out too soon. To too many people, because we didn't feel he had left
the area,
the 5 mile radius or so.
I was talking about the lady. I'm sorry, I should have.
There was one listed on her.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if there's been a national. Alert for her. Okay.
Yes.
Kimberly Turner, which is her stepdaughter, says that yesterday it was 3 weeks that she's missing, and she's asking for any help, anybody that's seen anything. And this goes back to the camera system of everybody. Right. If you've got a camera system that catches cars on road, if there's a burglary and you got a picture of 5 cars that pass, it gives you some idea who went by.
Yeah. Out in the county, too, a lot of times you don't have the street lights to light everything up like you would in town or something. So it probably makes it harder.
Yeah, it does.
Unless you have a security camera that automatically turns on when you walk up or something like that. But
and she says it's a silver alert that was issued there.
Yeah, we pray that for sure.
Absolutely.
That somebody can give any information. Maybe we can put her picture up there again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything we can do to help. So.
And share it and push it out. And, they say, what is that? We're connected to everybody in the world on a degree of 9. So we share pictures and things like that. Eventually, it's going to make it around, and just about everybody on social media is going to see it one way or another.
Absolutely. All right, we got more coming up with Odie in just a moment. I went out yesterday afternoon. I'm getting my lawnmower tuned up out at Freeman Tractor, so I borrowed one. And I got to have a long talk with them since I didn't ask questions. Y'all believe this or not?
Angie,
well, I guess I ought to be ashamed. I put Angie out here.
Scotty, right?
I put her on this particular mower right here.
Yeah.
And she commenced to going off. And about 8:15, she walks back up to the house and she's run out of gas. So I said, no problem. I called my neighbor, borrowed some gas, dump it in it, and it won't crank.
Oh, goodness.
And I said, oh, my gosh, I done borrowed a lawnmower and tore it up. And it wouldn't crank for the save my soul. And you know what? After I got my neighbor to help me drag it back to the house, what was wrong?
What?
There's a little switch on there that says use other gas tank.
Hey.
I had no idea that it had a switch.
What was the key phrase, though? And I put Angie on it.
Oh, she just looked so good on a lawnmower.
Well, that's what the reason I asked, did you know how to turn it on, is because every time I come up and the grass is being cut, Angie's cutting it.
Yeah, I don't get to cut it. That's her thing. She loves it. Yeah. But if you need a lawnmower, and they will show this to you, just ask. They'll show you how to operate a lawnmower. They got plenty to choose from. That #1 brand, that Skag there. They've got them there. Of course, tractors. This one, if I am not mistaken, was getting loaded onto a tractor yesterday afternoon going bye-bye. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a lot of them there. If you can, of course, these right here, this is handy to where the older you get, the harder it is to look behind you to back up and bush hog over things. Right. You can get one on the front of that front end loader and just squish it down and cut it up. Mm-hmm. They've got so many implements there for you as deer season is upon us. And, of course, the ATVs, the benches made in Texas, that you can order them with the heat and air. Yeah, those are nice. The 550 to 750 series with winches. They even have a navigation system in case you get lost to get back to the house. See them there. Freeman Tractor, 626-8759.
I'm Janet from Jackson, Mississippi, and it took one call, that was all. I called my Mississippi attorney, Richard Schwartz. He got me $377,250.
If you need me, Mississippi, remember, one call, that's all.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace with our special guest. I wanted to bring this out. Odie, I'm sure that you remember this. And I'll show your picture here so you can be a part of this. We're going to throw this up on the screen. You remember the TV show Emergency? And they play it here on MeTV. Yep. Do you remember this guy? Let me go down to his picture here. Right there, right there. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
He looks like the guy on All in the Family.
Like Meathead.
Yeah.
He does look similar to
it. That's not him.
No, that's not him.
Oh, okay.
It was Tim Donnelly, known as Chet off of that TV show, has passed away this week.
Oh, goodness.
He passed away on the 19th. I didn't realize.
A lot of actors pass away.
It has.
Lately. Mm-hmm.
But boy, as a kid, that TV show was big.
I remember even watching that.
Candace, where were you? What rock?
I really don't remember watching it.
We had 3 TV channels.
Look, when was that on? You know, I was born in 74. So
that was still going strong in 74.
How old was I in 74? Or when this was going on?
Look, Odie, if she doesn't know how to answer this next one, you just come on around here on this side and get her.
We'll get it, huh?
What?
You did watch Barnaby Jones, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Oh, no.
People.
I still watch
guys. That's like law enforcement type stuff.
This is.
He's a detective?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, I wasn't into all that. I mean, I was like into.
That was Jed Clampett. After he left the Clampetts, Barnaby Jones. Yeah. Buddy.
Well, now I guess I have heard of it, like it, but I didn't watch it. I mean, I didn't.
Well, he was slick. You know, he even appeared when they done the remake of the Beverly Hillbillies. You know, he had that cameo to where Jane went to him for advice.
Okay.
I
did watch the Beverly Hillbillies.
Update her.
Look, you start a prayer chain on this. We're gonna pray for Candace.
Look, I stayed at my grandmother's house when I was little most of the time when Mom and them worked, and if it wasn't on at grandmother's house, Candace didn't watch it.
Now, I have to admit, I didn't do a lot of wrestling watching as a kid.
I had to watch the stories. Okay.
I watched wrestling.
As the world turns.
The only time as a kid that I remember, and I don't know who it was, but you know how you walk through as a kid and you stand there for a second, had this guy on that put a Indian headband on, you know, with the feathers, and this other guy grabs a chair and hits him, and he falls to the floor. And that is my only memory of.
Yeah. Well, we think he hit him. You know, we do know he slammed his foot at the same time on the floor that he act like he was going to hit him. Because we did watch wrestling because Granddaddy watched it all the time. He thought it was for real.
Y'all know when I found out that it was all fake?
What?
The Lead Co Shuffle. Do y'all remember that when all those guys, and they had all these wrestling matches here in Meridian? Yeah. And we'd go down for the filming of it, and I was like, hey, that looks fake over there.
Yeah.
And it was.
Where they act like they slammed down on somebody, but they really like was slamming their elbow down on them. Yeah.
And now that I bring up the Lead Co Shuffle, let me show this picture, because this is probably one of Mississippi's most famous people, and he helped promote that whole thing there. Let me get over here to it and pull this up on the screen.
I remember Lee.
Everybody I know.
Oh, yeah.
Here he is. Yep. Tom Lester was born on today, and of course he was on Green Acres there, and he ended up doing the lead co-shuffle and promoting all that. Born in Jackson, Mississippi, never left Mississippi, retired in Mississippi, and I just thought we needed to bring him out today.
No, I did watch Green Acres. Did y'all watch that?
Green, I watched the pig. And
was it Ava Gabor or Jaja Gabor? Which one was in that? Ava
was it. And Mr. Haney.
He's always selling something.
Yeah, you have never lied on that.
That was cute. Yeah. I miss those shows, though. You know?
I know.
I do watch a lot of MeTV, and everybody calls me the MeTV fella. And
because you're not, number one, you're not going to get ugly words set up on your television that you're not expecting. Anybody can watch it.
We don't get it at my house. I wish we did because we have a direct TV.
So if you go out there and get you an antenna and hold your tongue just right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to work an antenna because, I mean, that's all we had when I was little with the tinfoil on it.
Yeah. Who remembers visiting somebody that was upper class than you that had the little button in their house that they could turn the thing and the antenna turned on? Not at our house. Somebody had to go outside and turn it, and somebody yelled through the window.
We climbed up the antenna and sat on the roof, and that one, like up the side of the house. That was a fun thing to do back then.
And if you let go of that antenna, you would lose signal. So you couldn't watch TV because you had your hand stuck out holding the antenna. Don't you let go of that thing, boy.
Oh, gosh.
You remember those days as well.
I was the remote, and I was the antenna turner.
Yeah, because you, what was it? In Meridian, it was McAllister's TV was pretty much where you could go get a TV or have it worked on.
Yeah.
And it weighed, nobody stole your TV back then because it weighed 800 pounds.
Console TVs.
You couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. We're coming up on the top of the hour. Odie, we can't thank you enough for coming in today and talking about this. Is there anything as we're getting ready to close here that you want to pass along for people to remember and do in situations like this?
The key is time is of essence. So as soon as something like this happens, call us. Call your friends and let them know, but call us. Call 911. Let them start getting out personnel so we can get to that area and get out there as close to the beginning as possible. Like I said, we'd much rather show up or not even get all the way there and get turned around than we would have to spend the night and conduct these searches. That's what we'll do, and that's what we'll call in people to help us to get it done. But as soon as something goes awry, call us first. Let us start coming that way, because it takes us a little while to get everything gathered. We're ready, we're prepared, but we don't carry everything with us everywhere we go places. So we have to get our trailers gathered up, get everything ready, and show up out there. So the sooner the better. And then the community's help is awesome. And just couldn't thank everybody around the community for showing up and supporting this family and this kid.
Well, a big thank you to everybody that pitched in with this, every rescue person who ever walked, and to the people in the community that done this.
Yes.
Odie, thank you for coming in and spending some time with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Sure do.
Candace and I are going to be back in the morning. We think y'all join us at 6 tonight as we'll talk to the dad of Henton to get their side of the story, what went on, how they worried, and how they felt once he was found. Thank y'all. We'll be back in the morning beginning at what time?
8 a.m.
Girl sharp. She's
Have
all
a
over
blessed
this.
day.
Scotty Ray's Weather is brought to you by